First of all, thank you, CIJ, for giving me this opportunity. It's a big thing for me because I'm getting an international platform where I'm able to talk about my work, and it really means a lot, and talking to all of you would definitely, help me improve my skills as well. I'm a storyteller. I'm going to tell a story here, and I'm not here to give any knowledge per se, but just the story, how it all went about. So first you can see the bond. This is called electoral bond. And now this scheme was introduced by the government, by the Indian government, which is the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. I'll write it down over there. I think so I should move so that it registers a bit with you people. Thank you. This is the short form of the current government, and our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, comes from this political party. So BJP introduced this electoral bond in 2017, and the main purpose of this bond was to collect political donation. So the two main purposes that the government vouch on, that through this bond, one, the donation will turn into white money, like all the donations will come through banking channel. That is one major reason the government vouched for, and hence they brought this. Second, they said that the donation which will come through this, the donor's name, be it company or individual, their names would remain anonymous. So the point was that the donor can purchase the bond, and then from a bank, the State Bank of India, for any amount. This is for 1,000 rupees, as you can see written there, and it starts from 1,000 rupees to 1 crore rupees. So any amount they can purchase and then donate it to the political party of their choice, and the political party will go back to the bank and get it redeemed, and the money will go straight to the political party's account. So this is the scheme. I would just tell you, just want to point out, I know it's a bit complicated. You can write down your notes and you can ask me later. I would definitely keep it short so that we can interact a bit. So this is the process. The donor buys it from the bank, gives it to the political party, and the political party goes back to the bank and redeem it. So the main thing was to keep the donation money in white. Second, they said that the political party, BJP, they received many complaints from the company saying that, there's a possibilities of donors being arm twisted by the opposition party or any party. Say suppose the donor is of BJP. So they said that what if the opposition party tries to arm twist the donor if their names are out? So the second thing that they said, that the donor's name will remain anonymous. So that was a big problem, because political donation needs to be transparent. Otherwise, how would anybody know who are the donors? If big corporates, they give donation through, anonymously, then there are possibilities that black money can come in. These donors can get some sort of favors from the ruling government. So these were the two things which they claimed, and the major issue was the anonymity. So of course there were major hue and cry, but the problem was the BJP could easily get the scheme out because there was no opposition. They came in power with majority, and hence, since there was no opposition, they managed to go ahead with the scheme. And just to point out, in 6 years, the BJP government got 54% of the donation through this electoral bond. So major chunk which ran into thousands of crores, it means I would convert in billions, thousands of billions, which donation they got through this electoral bond. So the story starts from 2018. It was introduced in 2017, but it was sold for the first time in 2018 because after it was introduced in the parliament, there were many problems which arise. So my story, my work starts in 2018 when it was sold for the first time. I was working for an organization called the Quint, and I had a chit chat, all of us have chit chat with the editor most of the time. This scheme has been introduced. My editor said that, is it really anonymous? Well, that was the major question, that is, because as you can see, I'll show you the other bond. There are two bonds with me. On this bond, you can see it's 9 April 2018. Apart from that, there's no change in two bonds. This is the second bond. In this, you can see 5th April. Rest of the thing is same. There's no name of the purchaser, nothing. So there was a discussion with my editor that what is it? Like, are they really keeping it anonymous? Is it possible? And how are they going to operate? So we decided that initially I spoke to few bank people, State Bank of India, as you can see written there, and a few bureaucrats about it. Like, are you really going to keep the names of the donors anonymous? Is it possible? And secondly, it's, of course, it's curbing our transparency. The political donation, everything should be transparent. When I spoke to them, they said, yeah, it is anonymous. Then when it was sold in March 2018, my editor and I decided that why not to purchase one? It's for very, it starts from 1,000 rupees, is not much of money. So he said, fine, okay, bingo. I go and purchase the first bond on April 2018. This was my first purchase. Now the purchase process, briefly I tell you, it was not easily available. Just to point out one more thing, when this bond was introduced, many political parties were also not aware of it in the opposition. They were not aware of how the scheme works. So when I went to purchase this bond, even the bankers were not really much in know of it. It was sold in a very small section of the State Bank of India. So the process, I went as an individual to purchase the bond, and the entire process took me around 1.5 hours. There were thousands of questions being, asked by the banker. Why do you want to purchase? Why are you interested in how did you come to know? And things like that. And the entire body language, why I'm emphasizing on this, because that is the trigger, that was the trigger for me. The entire body language of the banker was as if he was so suspicious about me coming and buying it, that triggered me. So when I purchased and came back to office, I was a bit upset, to be honest. When we follow any story, we feel that, oh, there's nothing written, my name is not there. So actually they are not tracking it. Apart from the date, nothing is written. So I was a bit upset when I told my editor that it seems that they are keeping anonymous. They took my ID cards, but that is for their record. They did not write anything on the bond. So now I can easily go and hand it over to the political party and they can get it redeemed. So my name will remain anonymous. So I slept over this thing for over the night, and I was thinking like probably there is nothing, maybe the government is actually keeping it anonymous. But the banker's body language and the conversation, that in-depth grilling, like why I've come, where do I stay, what do I do, that actually made me a bit restless. So what? Just few months before this, I happened to be in a forensic lab for some other story, and I was aware of that there's something called paper forensic as well. So I discussed with my editor that let's get the forensic test done of this paper. That's, it wouldn't cost you much. Let's keep everything, clear that actually there isn't anything. So that's the trigger. Now, when I gave it to the forensic lab, and Tom, I would need your help. So forensic test took me just 2 hours. Can you see this number? Could you please switch on the light once? There's nothing visible to naked eye, but this is visible under the UV light. So this is a unique number. So you can see this is this number is. Could you please switch off once more? So this is like 015101. OT stands for 1000. Now this is for 5th April. I'll show you this ends with 01 and the other. So since I knew that this is actually a number is there, so to prove that it is unique, I had to buy another bond on 9th. And this is 02. So both the numbers are unique, hidden alphanumeric number. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. So this was the trick. This is how they were following the donors, without the knowledge of the donors actually what is happening. And all stories have, there is no thumb rule for investigating any story. Each story has its own challenge, how you work on it. And where many people asked me, was it just intuition? Was it? What was it? What was it? How did you think? And all. There's no clear answer to this, It was just the trigger maybe was the body language of the banker. He was too cautious about what he was doing. So of course, before selling the bond, they write the number, and like Poonam Agarwal purchased the bond with this number, and when they go to redeem the political party, the banker would again see what it is. So this is the scam, I would say the scheme rather, that they came claiming that the donor's name is anonymous, although the bank, the State Bank of India, was recording all the numbers, and secondly, the ruling government would of course know who is donating how much. Interestingly, the Election Commission of India, which is the constitutional body, has the right to know the names of all the donors as per the law. But to bring this scheme, the government amended many acts, from income tax to the election rules and everything, just to bring this particular scheme, because this was the easy route for them to take donations in white money in the name of bribe. So this is the thing that happened, and I did this story in 2018. Unfortunately, nobody could actually understand the relevance of this unique number. But gradually what happened that we filed, there were many RTIs were filed by some activists. In that RTI, the Right to Information Act, under the Right to Information Act, we could manage to get so many government documents which proved that this scheme was objected by Election Commission of India, the Reserve Bank of India, and also the Ministry of Law and Justice, because this scheme had many problems. I'm not going into the details of those because it could be boring, but the documents itself showed that despite of so many problems, the government managed to bring that scheme just because there was no strong opposition. So once those stories were done, a public litigation lawsuit was filed in the Supreme Court in 2019. I'm just giving the chronology because it is very important to make you understand that investigative journalism is not just about doing a story. Of course, all of us want that we do a good story and the impact should be immediate. We would like to get all the things and the whatever we expect to happen immediately, but it doesn't happen always. So I did the expose in 2018, then in 2019 the public lawsuit was filed. This was in the Supreme Court of India. After this lawsuit was filed, of course, the Supreme Court asked all the political parties from between 2018 and 19 to give the details of the donors in a sealed envelope to the Election Commission. That envelope, by sealed I mean that the envelope cannot be opened without the court's permission. So in 2019 that order came, and the political parties did give the sealed envelope, but it never got opened till 2024. So the PIL was filed then in 2024 February, just before the general election. The matter came for hearing and the judgment was out. Now the interesting bit I would like to tell you briefly. I'm telling again, if it is getting complicated, please keep your questions, I'll explain you again. In 2024, when the matter came for hearing, the Chief Justice of India not only struck down the scheme, they also said that it is unconstitutional, which is a big thing. So the moment this happened, the Supreme Court of India asked the State Bank of India to share all the data related to bond with the Election Commission of India so that it comes in the public domain. Now the interesting bit I'm coming to. In the PIL, the public interest litigation, the prayers, the demand was not for the unique number. The petitioner never asked for the unique number in the lawsuit, which was a big problem. So when the judgment came out, there was no requirement of the unique number to be shared by the SBI. Now, why this number is important? Can anybody tell me? Please.
Tells you who the donor is, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because without this unique number, you cannot match the donor and the political party. To tally, to bridge the gap, you need the number. So what the SBI smartly did, they gave the data in two parts. In one, they mentioned the name of the donors and the amount. In the part two, they mentioned the name of the political party and the amount they received. Now there is a catch. Now when this data was out, we were happy to know who are the donors, but we still don't know who donated how much to which political party. So that's where the problem was. So the hearing was going on. Just to tell you that I run a small YouTube channel of my own, and I started in February. So I was like keen, of course. This is one thing which was very close to me. So I thought that this has happened. The court has not asked for the numbers, and it seems that SBI is not going to give. SBI is saying that they will take a lot of time. So I did a small video on this subject separately, that there is a unique number which needs to be shared so that people can know who the donor is and to whom they donated how much. That video, when I put it on my YouTube channel, it's a very small YouTube channel with 60,000 followers now, that caught the eye of some of the journalists in India who have big following and who are known to be anti-government. They then approached and they asked me that, do you have the bond? Can you do an interview with me? I said, why not? And I was a bit surprised that even some of the journalists were not aware of this unique number. Maybe it was because of 6 years, or I don't know what was the reason. But when those big journalists on their YouTube platform and in their website wrote about it, it caught the eyes of the Chief Justice of India. While the hearing was going on, it was in the process, the Chief Justice of India, he categorically asked the SBI, State Bank of India, to share this unique number. Why I am telling you this? Because even the Supreme Court of India really had to put in a lot of efforts to get the data from the State Bank of India. Now you must be thinking why the bank was not sharing. Please understand that the bank comes under the Ministry of the Government, and the situation in India is so bad that most of the investigating agencies, ministries, of course, constitutional body, they are compromised, and it's a sad situation. So SBI did everything on their part not to share. But when this order came out and the CJI asked specifically that share the number, and also asked the State Bank of India chairman to give it on record that they are not withholding any further information, then the number was out. And when the number was out, for the first time we got to know that who donated how much to which political party, and based on that information, another public interest litigation was filed in the court, in the Supreme Court, seeking court-monitored inquiry by a special investigating team, and in which there were 22 instances of quid pro quo. So this is the scam, and we could see the dent in our general elections. The general elections that happened in India recently, the results were out on 4th June, and with lots of proud, I can say that the country, my people, they have shown that political parties, they cannot sustain, they cannot come to power based on religion, polarization. You need to work. You need to work, and today we have a strong opposition party, a leader of opposition after 10 years, and it means a lot, because without strong opposition, democracy cannot sustain. So this bond, not James Bond, but electoral bond, did damage a lot for the current BJP government. Thank you. So it really feels good, very satisfying to see. It took me, these years, 2018 when I did the story, people were not understanding, not much, even the political parties were not keen to understand, but the relevance came out in 2024. So not all stories can tell its relevance immediately, but some stories we need to do and pursue. It's not that after this expose I stopped. I did many articles on which were based on the RTIs and other information on the electoral bonds with me. There were other media houses who were pursuing it. They followed it to the T. So 3 Ps, I can only say 3 Ps. My name also starts with P, not me, but 3 Ps. Always remember, this is the knowledge I would like to share. Patience. You need a lot of patience. Curiosity goes without saying, but of course, every investigative journalist is curious. That's why he or she is an investigative journalist. Persistence. Perseverance. You need to pursue. You need to follow up. You need to think about it. If you don't do it, no story is complete. I could have easily bought this bond, got sad that there is nothing, there is no serial number. I would have done that, of course, but something was off. Something was off. That's why I went ahead. And I would like to say this also, that sometimes what happens when we start working on a story, we are not clear what we are looking for. But in this case, I was very clear that I am looking for a unique number. You cannot track any transaction or a person if there is no unique number. So my veil, the veil that I was chasing, was very clear that I need to find out whether there is any unique number or not. So the clarity, of course, there many times it happens that we start working on a story, we are not clear. Sometimes we know that we are looking for certain things, but if we have clarity of what we are chasing, then it really makes your work very focused and you do not lose the track, and it's much faster. And data journalism and all that, it's a way that we always can move ahead, data crunching, and the clarity is the most important thing when we start working on any story.